crazy. Joining us now is Jim Leggette, lecturer of economics at Mississippi State University. Good to see you there, Jim.
Morning. Hopefully we solved everything.
I think so. Yes, sir. We got you loud and clear. See you on the video there. Good to go. So we've been talking about economic matters and issues this morning. Specifically, I'll put this out there for you that we've got the Fed that has been on an interest rate hiking campaign. Of course, they've got a couple of tools at their disposal, and their mandate is to stabilize pricing and achieve optimum employment, something to that effect. That's their kind of dual stated mandate. And then you got go ahead.
You're trying to be Goldilocks, but that's okay.
Well, exactly. So, and then we got the federal government, the Congress and the president to make laws and issue policy, and they're over there, in my view, making policy, making law that doesn't necessarily promote supply, which is what's needed, in my view, to curtail inflation. And so it's like the Fed and the federal government monetary policy with respect to the former and fiscal policy with respect to the latter are fighting with each other. How do we get out of this trap? Do you agree?
Well, they're definitely fighting with each other. I think that's kind of the unfortunate result of our system. And the good news, I think we have had some fairly responsible Fed chairmen, so they can handle that. What I do, and I do remember like Paul Volcker and Alan Greenspan and Bernanke too, saying, "Hey, you need to get your fiscal house in order. And by the way, don't kill the golden goose." You know, and and I think we had a pretty good test environment in the '80s where they figured out how to keep the golden goose going, and it kind of carried us up to about 2008 or so. And I think we've been struggling to get back to that. And what's kind of an interesting, and actually have it for class. You can come to class in about a week or so, and share that with you. From 1950 to about 2000, sometime in the early 2000s, the economy grew at over 3% a year.
Yeah,
doesn't sound like much, but that's 60 years, and what it basically means is the average guy's income went up to 50,000, and where if it grew at 2%, it's 25. Nothing special. Right. And in fact, this article you like, it's an old Wall Street Journal article. It says, why does the Republicans' message on growth have to be so darn boring? Now, darn boring is not what they said. But the point is, you and I yawn at, well, maybe you and I don't, but most people yawn at 2 versus 3% growth.
Right.
But as you know, over 50 years, that's serious money. And I think we've been trying to, Trump wanted to hit that goal, never really got there. And I don't hear anybody talking about that. And it basically means to get there, you have to enable the guys producing. I was listening to your person with the Small Business Association. Apple Group, the next Apple is in somebody's garage. Yeah. And we do a good job of making it hard. And then, of course, high cost of money doesn't make it easier. If you're financing debt, let's say you and I come up with a great, whatever it may be. Our business case may never see the light of day because we can't afford it.
Yeah.
That's something we can't see. And one that I won't say frustrating, but one of the challenges about teaching economics or maybe leadership or visionaries or whatever it is, how do you get people to see something that's not there?
Yeah. Good point. Yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah. Obviously Steve Jobs saw something the rest of us didn't.
Yeah,
because you were talking about Apple, and no doubt some people in his board said, "Now, why the heck do you want a computer you can carry around with you?"
He most famously said, "People don't know what they need until I tell them," and he was right.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds arrogant, but on the other hand, you as the entrepreneur, it's your challenge to provide them with a solution to a problem they didn't really know they had.
Right. Exactly right.
When you crack that code, that's why he's a bazillionaire. Did you ever watch? You probably did. On the History Channel about 4 or 5 years, because probably it was longer than that. About the men who built America.
Yeah. Fascinating series.
The Rockefellers.
Rockefellers, yep. Vanderbilts,
Ford,
yep.
and all of them solved a problem people didn't know they had.
That's
So
right.
we might as well put Edison and J.P. Morgan in that, and they became billionaires. That's kind of the way the system works, right?
Yeah. Yeah. You produce value for society. You produce a good or a service that people are willing to part with their money for. You get wealthy doing it. That's the way it works, and we seem to have lost that concept.
And there was a book I read in grad school called The Antitrust Paradox. You remember Robert Bork before? When he was just a lowly law professor at Yale. He was writing about antitrust law, which is dull as dirt. It's important. And kind of the essence of his comment was, we like entrepreneurial stories. We like people to be wealthy, make a bunch of money until they get too big. And then we turn on them. Because you probably saw it. Google's on its way to antitrust court, like right now.
Saw that.
Yeah. And then what will probably happen is Google will throw so much money at it, and lawyers, the government will probably just give up.
Probably. Of course, they're constantly facing issues in Europe. I mean, Europe is so anti-big tech and really anti-big business in general, but especially the tech, to the point that they really want to manage big tech as it exists in Europe, as it is consumed in Europe.
And that's okay if that's what they want to do, but I don't know whether you've been to Europe recently, and I have, and one of the things you see, it's quite charming, it's quite old world, but their economies stink. France's economy is kind of like Mississippi in 1980. But they got charming, go to Normandy, you got charming villages, and I mean, I love all that kind of stuff. But then there's and I'm glad it's their economy, not ours. I can
even Jim, even Germany, which has traditionally been kind of the front runner there, they're contracting somewhat.
Yeah, and I wonder, they are the strong kids for the euro. And, and probably means as a strong economy, you're pulling the weight for all those who aren't so strong. I wonder what now, I'm just talking out loud because I don't know the answer, but it has to make you think. I know there was some tension, particularly 10 plus years ago when Greece had the debt problem.
Right.
Those tensions didn't go away.
Right. Hadn't heard much about that, though. I mean, did they just end up getting bailed out on that? They were teetering.
I haven't either. I hadn't looked into it, but they must have at least made it not a crisis. Which probably meant you had infusion of cash. But you think about the Greek crisis, you think that the one that U.S. has, your China discussion was quite interesting. Things aren't a crisis till they're a crisis.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Jim. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I like sailing a lot. And you can see storms developing on it. And the time to do what you need to do is before the storm hits. Like get your life jackets on, get ready. Storm hits, it's over. If you're not ready, you got a challenge.
Good, great point. And the good business leaders, they can kind of see around the corner like that. Jim, appreciate you joining us. Always an interesting discussion, sir. Thanks a lot.
Okay, now it's time to go shape some young minds.
There you go. Yes, sir. We're coming right back. Yeah, man. We're coming right back, folks. Stay with us.